After a controversial Italian Grand Prix where papaya rules pitted their two drivers against each other, McLaren are setting their sights on championship glory by prioritising Lando Norris in their title push. And Oscar Piastri is sore about it. Did the team make a fair decision given the situation they're in? Stay tuned to find out. McLaren is going all in on their star driver Lando Norris as they ramp up their bid to claim both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships in Formula One. With the team's impressive resurgence, McLaren has drastically cut Red Bull Racing's once dominating lead in the Constructors' standings, from a towering 115 points down to a nail-biting 8. Following a stellar performance at the Italian Grand Prix, team points-wise anyway, McLaren has now shifted focus to the Drivers' title as well. Though reigning champion Max Verstappen still holds a 62-point lead with 8 races to go, including 3 sprints, Norris is hot on his heels in second place. Meanwhile, Oscar Piastri, sitting 4th and 106 points adrift, will be stepping aside as McLaren backs Norris for a potential championship upset. Speaking on former NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s podcast, McLaren CEO Zak Brown offered insight into how the team might handle team orders going forward. With Lando Norris edging closer to a potential drivers' championship, Brown hinted that the team and Oscar Piastri would do whatever they can to support Norris's title bid. Brown also praised the dynamic within the team, expressing his good fortune in having 2 number 1 drivers on the roster, showcasing McLaren's strong driver lineup while managing the delicate balance between competition and cooperation. We're going to give it everything we've got. Oscar is going to do everything he can to help. You know, I'm fortunate. I got 2 number 1 drivers. They're both awesome. But Lando is now in a position where, he can mathematically see it, smell it. So we're going to work as a team to see what we can do to help Lando. In an interview with BBC Sport, McLaren team principal Andrea Stella confirmed their championship ambitions are now fully in play. He said, "We will bias our support to Lando, but we want to do it without too much compromise on our principles. Our principles are that the team interest always comes first. Sportsmanship for us is important in the overall way we go racing. And then we want to be fair to both drivers." McLaren has up to now been hesitant to enforce team orders, only resorting to them in select moments when one driver had an unintended strategic advantage. A prime example came at the Hungarian Grand Prix, where Lando Norris was told to relinquish track position gained during the pit stop cycle to teammate Oscar Piastri. The tension continued in Italy, where Piastri overtook Norris on the opening lap, a move that also allowed Ferrari's Charles Leclerc to sneak past Norris, adding further complexity to McLaren's battle for championship points. With the title race tightening, McLaren may need to reconsider its hands-off approach to team orders as the stakes rise. In a strategic masterclass, Ferrari's Charles Leclerc executed a one-stop strategy to outpace both McLaren drivers, claiming victory ahead of Oscar Piastri in second and Lando Norris in third. Meanwhile, championship leader Max Verstappen had an uncharacteristically tough race, finishing 6th and sounding the alarm about Red Bull's dwindling title prospects. Andrea Stella revealed that following the race, the team held very collaborative talks with both drivers. While McLaren will prioritise Norris moving forward, Stella emphasised that the Briton is not expecting or demanding any overt favouritism as the team continues its push for championship glory. "Even when I said to Oscar, 'Would you be available to give up a victory?' he said, 'It's painful, but if it's the right thing to do now, I will do it,'" Stella said. "Every driver is hardwired to go for a victory. So I'm always very impressed by the level of team spirit and maturity and collaboration that we found in this period. Lando wants to win because he deserved the victory on track. It's okay to be occasionally supported by your teammate, but you don't want to use, systematically, ways of adjusting the race just for the sake of the points when your teammate is scoring in a way that he deserves. This is not the way McLaren wants to win, or the way Lando wants to win. If I asked Lando, he would say, 'I am comfortable. If, in Abu Dhabi, I miss a few points that I could have got with some actions, but if those actions were not right at the time, then, you know what? We keep strong as a team. The team is stable and cohesive. We will give it a go next year.'" Oscar Piastri has voiced his disdain for McLaren's decision to throw more weight behind teammate Lando Norris's Formula One title campaign. But he believes that the team has chosen an appropriate time to shift focus. He told media, "Naturally, as a driver, it's never, I guess, an easy thing or a simple thing to agree to, but if there's some ways of helping the points for Lando, then I will do that. Though Piastri had previously held onto the slim hope of his own title chances this season, he now acknowledges that it's the right moment to help McLaren push for both the drivers' and constructors' championships. Speaking to Autosport, Piastri reaffirmed his commitment to the team's bigger goals as they aim for a title double in the closing stages of the season. He said, "It has obviously been something we have discussed a lot in the last few days. Selfishly as a driver, in my own interests, of course. Team orders are not that fun, but in saying that, I realise there is a much bigger picture here than just myself. I race for a team that has given me my opportunity in F1 and given me the opportunity to win races in Formula 1 within 18 months of being here. So I have a lot of gratitude for that. But again, the bigger picture is about much more than just me. We are trying to achieve both championships, which for the team is an incredibly big thing. Of course, the constructors is one thing, but if you have the opportunity to win both championships in a year, then as a team it is a massive objective to try and win both. Being selfish, I would prefer to not have it. But I'm very aware it is not all about me, and I'm happy to play a supporting role at this point in the season. I think any earlier in the season it would have probably been excessive. But I think now, it is an appropriate time to try and help the team win both championships. Despite McLaren's decision to back Lando Norris in the championship race, Oscar Piastri has made it clear that he won't be routinely asked to step aside for his teammate. Norris himself has stated that Piastri won't be required to sacrifice victories to aid his title bid. The Australian denied that he'll be instructed to move over every time. The young driver remains confident that McLaren's approach will still allow both drivers to race competitively. It still needs some more discussion, but I think the main point is it is not just me pulling over for Lando at every single race. That is how none of us, including Lando, who want to go racing. Trying to go through all the scenarios is impossible, and of course we don't want to discuss that publicly. The main one is that if we feel that someone has done a much better job on a weekend, whichever way it is, we want that person to be rewarded, and that is of course where it becomes a bit tricky still, and we need to continue discussing that. But it is not simply a blanket, I'm going to be behind Lando in every single race and every decision that is taken here on out, because I still have things that I want to achieve in the championship and try to boost my standing in the championship. Oscar Piastri has defended his aggressive overtake on teammate Lando Norris during the Italian Grand Prix, arguing that Ferrari's flawless one-stop strategy played a far bigger role in McLaren's defeat than his bold move. But Piastri admitted that such a pass wouldn't have been acceptable under McLaren's newly established rules of engagement, especially if the two were running in first and second positions. With McLaren now focusing on a coordinated team effort, the Australian acknowledged that different tactics will be in play as the title race intensifies. In those exact same scenarios, some things would be different, Piastri elaborated. In those circumstances, what I did was fine. I thought it was a good move. And of course, the consequence of coming out of the corner in first and third is not what we want as a team. Of course, it takes both of our cooperation to make sure that result doesn't happen again, but in those circumstances, it was all by the book. There was nothing wrong with that. But it was purely just that the result out of the corner was not exactly what we wanted. In saying that, the result at the end of the race, in my opinion, wasn't dictated because of that. It was because Ferrari pulled off a big gamble on strategy, and without that with Charles, we would have still finished first and second. If you were in Zak Brown's shoes, what would you have done? Tell us in the comments section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.